Is this the biggest home run in Mets playoff history?
You consider the facts. Down 2-0, facing elimination, top of the ninth inning, one of the best relief pitchers in the majors on the mound, and he comes up with a 3-run home run to give his team the lead on the eventual victory. Todd Pratt's home run, incredible. Lenny Dykstra's home run, although I wasn't around to see it. I know about it, incredible. Benny Agbayani, incredible. But I don't know if it tops what we just saw the polar bear accomplish in Milwaukee on Thursday night.
You heard AJ Hinch say, who let the Tigers get hot? Who let the polar bear get hot? We're meeting at the Apple. I'm Vito Calisi. You can follow me on Twitter at Vito F. Calisi. That's Jonathan Barron at JMB9191. This is what baseball's all about. This is what being a Mets fan is all about. And before we get this episode underway at all, I'm going to let John pimp his own home run right now.
I didn't do anything, man. All I did
No, I'm not saying, but just pimp it, dude. Pimp it.
Look, I have, for all you guys that have been following along and have joined us on this journey for now, it's been 7 months, and especially the last month where the baseball has gotten serious, it's gotten intense, it's gotten real, and boy, oh boy, was Thursday all of those words I just said, and then some. I know a lot of you guys out there believed in Pete Alonso like I have been. And for all those who are possibly new listeners and are listening to the show or watching the show for the first time, we here at Meet at the Apple have been believing that Pete Alonso's moment was coming. A lot of people have been saying, he's not coming through. He's hitting cleanup and he's not getting it done. And I have been telling the listeners, Pete Alonso's moment is going to come. It is coming. This guy has the third most home runs in the history of this franchise, having played less than 6 full Major League Baseball seasons. This guy is our guy. We need to believe in our guy. And while, it got grim there. 0 for 3 through his first 3 at-bats. Drops the foul pop-up, which, by the way, Edwin Diaz striking out William Contreras to keep the score where it was massive. And we need to talk about that, and we will. But I still didn't give up my belief in Pete Alonso. And look, Pete Alonso was the guy who got it done. For me, I'm a fan. I'm a believer in Pete Alonso. I'm a believer in this Mets team. Part of me, although I know that we all wanted to feel down going into the ninth inning, down 2-0, when he comes up with first and third and 1 out, I was at my cousin's house. My family, half my family, big Mets fans, drove out to Connecticut, second night of Rosh Hashanah. What a new year. But when he came up in that opportunity, I turned to my cousin, Matt, and I said, dude, this could be it. This could be it. And, it was a good matchup against the Devin Williams, who doesn't throw a slider. And so, I know a lot of people say, Pete struggles with the slider down and away, although earlier in the game, he had some good at-bats. He watched that slider go by. He hunted a fastball. He got his pitch. And Pete Alonso delivered, Vito, what I think is the biggest home run in New York Mets postseason history. I do, man. You consider the facts. Down 2-0, facing elimination, top of the ninth inning, one of the best relief pitchers in the majors on the mound, and he comes up with a 3-run home run to give his team the lead on the eventual victory. Todd Pratt's home run, incredible. Lenny Dykstra's home run, although I wasn't around to see it. I know about it, incredible. Benny Agbayani, incredible. But I don't know if it tops what we just saw the polar bear accomplish in Milwaukee on Thursday night. Put the team on his back. Let's go to Philly, baby.
The second that ball goes over the wall, you just ask yourself, is this the biggest home run in Mets playoff history? Just because you look at the facts, the fact that scratch Mets history right now, just talking about all of baseball history. And I'm not saying this is the biggest home run in baseball history, but I'm saying in the history of the MLB playoffs, nobody, and I mean nobody, has hit a go-ahead home run while trailing in a winner-take-all postseason game. The one man to do it is Pete Alonso. That one man is the guy we've been saying was going to break out, was going to get hot. You heard the Tigers say it the other day. You heard AJ Hinch say, who let the Tigers get hot? Who let the polar bear get hot? Because the Mets have the potential to go on a run. We've said this on this podcast. You beat the Brewers, in past playoffs, it has shown you teams that beat the Brewers go on to do great things. They go on to make deep runs because the Brewers are a good team. That's a hard team to get past. Now we're going on to the Phillies, one of our biggest rivals we've ever had, one of those teams that's breaking our hearts for many years. But we get to go there for the first time ever in the postseason. And John, that game had all of the emotions that a Mets fan could possibly go through. You start the game all day. You're excited all day. I'm pacing around my apartment. I'm waiting for that game to start, feeling sick. Game starts. I'm pumped up. Jose Quintana's pitching a gem. I'm loving it. We're going. Nothing's happening. Nobody's getting on. Nothing's going right so far. 2 home runs that Jose Budo gives up. All of a sudden you're in despair. I'm literally staring at the floor. I'm thinking, what the hell are me and John going to talk about later? But I never truly gave up hope because I literally didn't move off the couch. I didn't turn off the game. I didn't leave what I was watching. I just sat there and I watched. I put my phone down because that's one of my good luck moves is putting my phone away and ignoring all texts. Men get on and you just knew. Like, I think if you are a true Mets fan, you knew that the last image of Pete Alonso from this season would not be him looking down while the Milwaukee Brewers celebrated. And thank you to Pete Alonso for making sure that was not it because, man, it's exactly like you said the other day. That ball got over the wall. I was looking up to the sky during the game, asking everybody who I've ever lost to come through and help. And that was another one of those balls where it went over and you were like, baseball is beautiful, dude. It's my wife is fully into the Mets. We were just, I don't want to have a run on like I get mad at you for, John. I'm just fired up, dude.
No, I know. I mean, I mentioned this after game 2, how every pitch in playoff baseball matters and how, the Mets struggled with RISP on Wednesday night and they struggled early and often throughout game 3 as well with RISP, but they got not 1, but 2 massive hits in the 9th inning with runners in scoring position. Pete Alonso hitting the home run, and then Jesse Winker gets hit for the second time, steals a massive base, shoving Brewer baseball down the Brewers' throats. And then Starling Marte, who we mentioned on the Game 2 recap episode, comes up with a huge hit, getting that insurance run. So when David Peterson comes in, he gives up the leadoff single to Sal Frelick, who, I mean, when Sal Frelick goes yabo like that, after Jake Bauers, who has bounced around Major League Baseball, goes yabo on back-to-back pitches, I mean, how can you not be sitting there feeling like, oh my gosh, this is going to be it? But 2 huge hits with runners in scoring position in the 9th inning for this New York Mets team. You knew the dam was going to break eventually. I just didn't know that it was going to happen when Devin Williams, who was a frightening figure, who was so good that when David Stearns was the man in charge of baseball in Milwaukee, he was able to trade Josh Hader away because he had a guy who throws a pitch that's called the airbender. That's how good his changeup is. And the Mets were able to put up a 4 spot in the inning. And then, of course, honestly, Vito, he makes contact. The camera cuts. You see Frelick going back. It gets over the fence. I put my hands on my head. My cousin Matt is going crazy. His young son Noah, who was 5.5 years old, and he drew a picture during the game that I forgot to bring up with me. I'm going to actually go grab it because I want everyone to see it because it's incredible. It's got Grimace and the apple and his favorite Mets. Says go Mets. They're all going nuts, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, how are we getting these final 3 outs? Because Edwin had recorded 6 outs. Mendy brought him in when it was 2-0, which turned out to be a brilliant move because, as I mentioned, he kept it there. Even when the Brewers were threatening for more, Edwin kept it there. And I'm thinking, how are we getting 3 more outs here? And then ESPN fancies you and a lot of other people who on Wednesday night were saying, why are they not showing us who's warming up in the bullpen? You see, it's David Peterson. And my first thought is, it's a bad day to be a worm in Milwaukee. And what happens David Peterson throws another massive 2-ball. This one puts an end to the National League Wild Card Series in Milwaukee. Gets Bryce Terang, who I feared coming into this series. He was one of the league leaders in stolen bases in the National League. He tormented the Mets. He had, I think, 5 or 6 hits in the series, hit the ball right in the screws. And it's very fitting that Francisco Lindor fields, takes it to the bag himself, fires to first, ball, game, over, and we've got a date, a turnpike date. For the first time, mind you, in the history of baseball, the New York Mets and the Philadelphia Phillies will do battle, and I've got a take. And I don't like making takes, giving takes, not on the podcast. You know me in real life. I'm full of takes. But I have a take, and I said this before the game started. I have a feeling the people of Philadelphia, nice bunch, cheesesteaks, Gritty, the Fanatic, Donovan McNabb, Chunky Soup, you name it.
Rocky.
Have
you seen Rocky? I bet you haven't.
Haven't seen Rocky. Not going to start now, by the way.
No, not this week. This isn't the week.
Not this week. The people of Philadelphia, they're watching that game. They know we're getting the winner of this ball game here tonight. I don't think they were happy with the outcome.
No.
I don't think that they were. I don't think they wanted the New York Mets. I don't. No. And after we beat them 2 Sundays ago, I said right here on this Meet at the Apple podcast, no one wants this New York Mets team. No one wants this New York Mets team. And I'm not saying that we're going to win or not win this series. We've got time. We're going to enjoy 24 hours on Friday. A lot of planning, lots of excitement. Let's go, Mets. And then we'll get to baseball on Saturday. But I don't think that the New York Mets, who won this series by, for the most part, especially in games 2 and 3, struggling with RISP, hit only 1 home run. If you guys don't think that this Mets team is going to continue or start to hit for more power, especially in a place like Philly. Vito, you texted me during the game and you said, whatever's going on in American Life Insurance, family, whatever it's called, field, ball's not traveling there. What's going on?
Same spot. Literally, Tyrone Taylor, I said it yesterday in the podcast. I said it to you in the text today. Tyrone Taylor has hit a ball to the same exact spot in 2 straight days. I think 2 times a game now. Absolutely. Everybody's just hitting balls to the warning tracks. That's a whole different animal over at Citizens Bank Park. There's something I want to bring up about just kind of like the beauty of this game and this series and like all of the things that came together that represent this season. Like one, for example, we're all about memes. We're all about weird things coming together. Pete Alonso, before he comes in, picks up a pumpkin and he calls it the playoff pumpkin after the game today.
I love the playoff pumpkin. Let's bring that to Citi Field, Mets fans. Let's bring that.
Playoff pumpkin. I mean, we got a fruit out in the outfield right now that could be a gourd if you make some moves. I'm just putting it out there. It's been another fruit before, but I also texted somebody from the design team with an idea for a pumpkin graphic. I'm excited to see if it gets through. But we had the playoff pumpkin. What else today? Oh, the snippet of the OMG remix featuring Pitbull released today. And when that came out, I texted you, John, and I said the Mets are not losing with this coming out today.
So I was about to hop in the shower when you sent me that text message. And, going back to what I said a few episodes ago, this has been a very emotional week for me, just with all that's happened and really like, us internally planning and like, are we hosting these playoff games? We so badly want to host these playoff games. And now that's locked in, by the way, but it's just been an incredibly emotional week. And when I heard the snippet of the song, and obviously that moment, that night, and that month, it's been so special. And I told you this, I don't want this to end. This has been too incredible. And, I guess at my lowest point on Thursday night, did I lose hope? Did I lose belief and faith? I don't know. Did I? I guess it's tough not to with Devin Williams coming in down 2-0 with 3 outs left to play with. But for them to do it again, I'm going to, when we're done, I'm going to listen to that song and just enjoy the night because it's been so incredible. And there's one more thing that I want to bring up that the ESPN broadcast showed. Vito, the Sean Manaea rally cap.
Yes.
The Sean Manaea rally cap. That's an OG going back to like game 6 of the season.
Yeah.
Sean doing that and it working and us asking him about it. And ESPN showed it. And once again, in the biggest of scenarios, the Sean Manaea rally cap came through. When I saw that, I was like, yo, if they pull this off, Sean Manaea rally cap, baby.
Dude, so first of all, my wife and I, we both were rally capped up before Sean Manaea popped up on it. Because you gotta, if you're at home, you still gotta throw on the rally cap. You're at a game, you throw it on. You're at home, just do it. We weren't even wearing hats. We literally went and grabbed our hats, put them on, and then when I saw Sean, dude, I felt something in my heart. I was like, this is going to be a special game. And then I looked at my wife and I was like, yo, this is one of those games we're going to remember for the rest of our lives. Like, this is outrageous. And there's no top 3 tonight because the only moment tonight is the Pete Alonso home run. There were other moments. There were other moments, yes, but there's only one moment that defines this game, and it's that Pete Alonso home run. And also, John, did you, not to just bring it on a sad note, but did you hear about Brandon Nimmo? Andy Martino reported that Brandon Nimmo, right before the game, finds out that his grandma, Claudine Nimmo, passed away. And he was having his own mix of emotions. And then Brandon Nimmo to be able to go out there in that 9th inning and really help get that rally moving after Francisco Lindor gets on. That's the kind of stuff that shows that this is just a magical year and a really magical group of guys. I mean, you saw them celebrating after the game, dude. I was hooked on the post game today. I was hooked on watching the locker room reactions.
I've got it on right now.
Dude, Jose Iglesias said he went up to Pete in the 8th inning and he said, just get on in the 9th. Like he said, we're just going to get up to you in the 9th because if we get up to you in the 9th, you're going to hit a home run. And then Mendoza said he was saying to everybody in the dugout, we just got to get the big boy up to the plate.
Yeah. There's another guy that we need to talk about, and it's Jose Quintana.
Yes.
Who did a brilliant job in this game. I don't want it to be forgotten about. It should not be forgotten about. Jose Quintana matching zeros with Tobias Myers, who was also lights out, gave the Mets fits back last Saturday in Milwaukee, gave the Mets fits tonight. And when Pat Murphy went into his bullpen, Mets fans were saying, oh, man, Pat Murphy made a mistake. Now, that bullpen is no joke. Trevor McGill, once again, shut the Mets down like he's done. This is the 3rd time he's done that this year. He did it on Friday when the Mets played Milwaukee. The Friday last year, the last season of the last series. That was a tough little sentence.
Yeah, you're excited, dude. You're excited.
I'm gonna bounce back. The last series of the regular season, Trevor McGill went a couple of innings, gave the Mets fits, gave him fits on Wednesday night, gave him fits on Thursday night. Then you saw Nick Mears come in. He gave them fits. Then you saw Freddie Peralta come in. He gave the Mets fits. And Jose Quintana throwing 6 scoreless, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts, going through the meat of that lineup a few times with no problem whatsoever. Had a couple instances where a runner was in scoring position, gave up a leadoff double to Gary Sanchez in the 2nd inning, worked his way out of it. Jose Quintana, once again, has proven why there are many teams around this league who have been interested in Jose Quintana. That's the reason why the Cardinals traded for Jose Quintana in 2022 to make the game 1 start for them. That's why the Mets signed him to a 2-year deal before the start of 2023. Of course, Jose didn't make his Mets debut until July of that season. That was a big loss for this Mets team, by the way. You know, people talk about Scherzer and Verlander and the injuries that they had to deal with and the struggles they went through. But not having Jose Quintana until July was a big loss for the Mets. What a moment for Jose Quintana on Thursday night. And everyone thought he was done after the 5th inning. And no one really knew what the deal was going to be. And then the tweets started coming out during the commercial break on ESPN that Quintana was going back out. And I know a lot of people were saying, oh, I don't know about this. Part of me thought that Jose Quintana should have been out there for the 7th inning, honestly, because we know this is a guy that can go deep into ball games. Yeah. This is a guy who knows how to control his stamina, can regulate the heartbeat. He pitches to contact. He was so precise. He needs to be precise. He's not a guy throwing 97, 98. Precision is the name of the game for Jose Quintana. Down and away, changeups low, getting the Brewers to chase, changing the eye level, as Mendy said in the mid-game interview with Jesse Rogers, up and down, east and west, left to right. It was a masterful performance by Jose Quintana. And anybody who doubted Jose Quintana or had a fear about, well, this is our guy that we're throwing out here in this must-win game. Jose Quintana, for me, I have the utmost confidence in a Jose Quintana, and I gotta shout out one of my best friends, Scott Flitter, from the LGGGM group, who threw a great one my way. Quintana Tova on this Thursday night. I love that. It truly is a Quintana Tova. And Pete Alonso at Citi Field with 10,000 amazing Mets fans who stuck around. We saw the apple come up, dipping the apple in the honey. A sweet new year. What a victory. What a team. And as the Mets' incredible content team told us all, what a story, but there is more story to be written.
Yeah, man, it made me really happy to see Quintana out there. And like you said, dude, I was one of those people who, when he went out there for the 6th, I was surprised, but Jose Quintana went out there. And John, we have a very special guest on the podcast today. We got somebody boots on the ground calling in live from Milwaukee, Hunter in the Goggies. Hunter,
up,
as you guys know, social media coordinator for the Mets, also part-time podcast producer for us. Hunter, you might have seen on TV in the background getting lots of shots. I saw about John. I don't know if you noticed him game 1 on ESPN's main shot getting the lineups. But Hunter, you, like us, grew up a Mets fan. What's it been like being there? What was tonight like in that locker room, dude?
It's unreal, man. You can't explain it. Within the span of 5 days, this franchise has had 2 of its best games in franchise history. I mean, just the atmosphere, the vibes, the team, what's going on around them. Jose Iglesias screaming the remix every 5 seconds. It's amazing, man. It's unreal to be a part of, unreal to be here, and just a phenomenal, amazing team that we get to watch.
How are you so dry?
Right now? I'm not. I am not. This shirt is soaked. My hair is soaked. I just got back to the hotel maybe 3 minutes ago. But yeah, wild night.
So I saw on Twitter that the Brewers were ready for their celebration, and the beer and the champagne cart was in their clubhouse. And I'm assuming that the plastic was up, and I'm not trying to harp on the Brewers and take shots of them. The Brewers are a really good franchise, very well run. Obviously, a lot of that has to do with David Stearns. Now it's Matt Arnold running the show there, and they were a tough out. And, the Mets earned their keep by moving on to the LDS, getting through the Milwaukee Brewers. But give us, if you have any, behind the scenes of the champagne cart being brought into the Mets clubhouse. Very last second, I'm sure, because obviously in Milwaukee, they were getting ready for their second celebration. Of course, they clinched the division at home this year. And it went from they're going to clinch in the home clubhouse to do their thing to, oh my God, we're doing it in the visiting clubhouse, and all the beer and champagne being brought into the Mets clubhouse, and the lining on the lockers and just the whole thing. Give us the BTS on that, Hunter.
So Will and I were up in the press box. Alonso homers. Second we get out of that inning, obviously after the big insurance run, we scramble down there. Will goes into the tunnel, get ready to go onto the field with the 360 cam. I'm hanging out in the locker room. And this place is 15 people from the Brewers clubhouse, MLB, Met staff, scrambling, throwing up the plastic, wheeling in carts, the Brewers clubhouse manager, directing everyone. Madness. I mean, just because figure what, and it was a pretty quick bottom of the 9th.
It was,
right?
yeah.
So they
Freeland
had
singled, and then he got Joey Ortiz to strike out, and then Bryce Terang hit, I think, the second or third pitch of his plate appearance right at Lindor. And Terang's fast, you know that. And I said it to my cousin, this is a tough guy to double up, but we know our boy Davey Two-Ball Peterson on the mound. It's a bad day to be a worm. You needed that hard hit ball from Terang to turn 2, and he got it. So go on.
So the second the final out was made, I rushed into the clubhouse. Everything got thrown up. All the plastic came down. Everything was being wheeled in. The shirts were being arranged. Ryan Caccioli was scrambling with all the postseason shirts. Luckily enough for the group inside, the team outside was taking their time coming back into the clubhouse. And I got to witness just a really cool moment with David Stearns being there in the locker room for the final out. Just a lot of emotions, and I mean, just
dude, it's
you
unreal.
can't
First of all,
it.
I'm really happy because I know that you, like Vito and myself, Mets baseball is ingrained in your blood. It is part of you. It's part of your DNA. You are one of us. You know, and Vito and I always say that this franchise is different, and getting to work for this franchise, I feel like, you know, in many instances, it's important to be a Met fan and understand the trials and the tribulations of what Mets baseball is all about, the good and sometimes not so good. And so for you to be able to be there and experience that, that's so much fun. And also, I mean, you and Will have been crushing it. The tweet you guys had yesterday with the Mets fan who was right by the on-deck circle, who was going through chemotherapy, battling cancer, you know, as someone who has lost someone to cancer, that meant a lot. Because I know that person traveled, and I know that person, you know, Mets baseball is helping that person through their battle right now. And so for you to shout them out, that was really awesome. But you guys, from soup to nuts, the Mudang, and just, you know, all the internet culture stuff that you guys have been doing, it's incredible. So shout out to you and Will and the rest of the team. You guys crushed it during this wild card series, and I know you're going to keep crushing it, just like the 26 guys in the dugout. Vito and I talked last night. I'm sure you were on top of what was going on to me at the Apple, about you know, how there was a guy in that dugout who was going to be a hero for this team in Game 3, and didn't know who was going to be for a little bit. It didn't look like there was going to be a hero, but boy, oh boy, Pete Alonso was that hero. Can you shed any light from your experience, your vantage point on Pete? I know he went to the podium and whatever, that's very formal, but how much fun is Pete Alonso having after hitting? I mean, this man has hit 226 regular season home runs as a Met, many of them big. But Vito and I, this title of the episode is this the biggest home run in Mets history? And I think there's a strong case for that. And this man, Pete Alonso, he delivered that.
Pete at the Apple.
Yeah.
Pete at the Apple.
Pete at the Apple. There you go. Pete was holding up his rally pumpkin.
No, it's the playoff pumpkin. It's the playoff pumpkin.
Playoff pumpkin. Excuse me. Whatever. I haven't been too locked in on it. But just holding it up, and everyone just champagne, beer all over him.
That's bad for the pumpkin. I feel like champagne and beer is bad for agriculture.
Yeah, I know. I know a certain director.
Can't be good for the crops.
I know a certain director who works for the Mets who is known for watering plants with lemonade. So I know that there's been stranger ways to take care of living organisms. But Hunter, in the stadium, I know that in Milwaukee, you guys are actually pretty high up. Did that ball look gone off the bat, or did you think that was going to be yet another fly out?
So Will and I were talking about this. I thought he got it. I thought it was like going to short hop the wall, off the wall, double, and tie. It would have tied the game regardless, right? Nimmo was on first, obviously runs well. That's what I thought. And then I don't know who was in right field, maybe Frelick or whoever it was. He just turned. And once I saw his numbers and like make a beeline for the wall, I was like, this might go. And then it made it over the wall. If he hit it a couple feet to the left, it probably bounces off the top of the wall. But yeah, I knew he got it well. I didn't know off the bat if he got all of it. Similar to Lindor's on Monday. I knew he got all of it, but you just couldn't tell if it was going out.
Yeah, it was. I mean, look, on TV, it felt like a magical moment. I wish I could have been at the watch party tonight, because the footage from the watch party of the entire field level concourse just going absolutely crazy. And what like meant a lot to me about the watch party was thinking about that famous Gary Cohen quote that we had on the show last week, the 0-5, barely anybody in the ballpark, but thinking about how much the season's turned around, where there were probably more people at that watch party watching a game on the big screen than were at the game that day. And like, that just shows you how far this team has come this year.
1000%. That's a great point. And I just want one other locker room
Please.
thing before. I did get to wish Harrison Bader a Lashana Tova, and he was very excited that I did that. But yeah, John, Lashana Tova to you. Vito, I know by default. But yeah, he was very excited that I went out of my way to do that, to wish him.
I appreciate that, and thanks to you. Same to you and everybody else. And I mean, dude, these last two nights, like you hit what you feel is the bottom of the barrel of the emotions. You're 6 outs away from moving on, and it slips away. And then on this Thursday, we had all day. I woke up at, I think, 9 a.m., basically. I had 10 hours to prepare myself for what we were about to witness in Milwaukee, and no amount of time could prepare me for what we went through. And I know everyone's got group chats and conversations, and many of us talk frequently throughout the game. And shout out Tommy. I called him after, and we talked about the heroics, because Tommy and I have been saying, hey man, it's gonna happen. Like, I don't just say that here on the podcast. I've been waiting for the moment. And what an incredible few nights of Mets baseball, the highs, the lows, but we wouldn't have it any other way. And I know that that's what makes this team so special, is the fact that nothing matters when it comes to, we failed here. It doesn't matter. Like, we're going to bounce back. We're going to get it done. We're going to come through. And, you face a Philly team now. I mean, I know, Hunter, you went to college in Philadelphia. You got a lot of friends there. I mean, they played 13 games. The season series was 7-6, and a couple games that were pretty late, decided late, like very close games. This was a tight season series between these two teams. This is going to be a war of attrition. Woo! We need this off day. We need this off day.
I want to go to one call, because I got somebody that called in for you, John. And real quick, if you would like to get in on the action and you would ever like to leave us a message over here and Meet at the Apple, that number is 302-615-0026. 302-615-0026. Feel free, call, leave a message. Well, maybe if you leave a few messages, maybe as we get ready, we could do a preview episode for the postseason, and we could talk to some people about what they're looking forward to, answer some questions. But let's go to one of these calls from tonight.
You guys are from Delaware here. John, I believe in you. The last time I called, I believe in you now. Pete Alonso's best baseball is ahead of them. Guys, they did it. They did it in dramatic fashion. I'm not sleeping tonight, that's for sure. Let's go, man. Take care.
Yeah, I mean, look, again, we need to appreciate the guys who have given us a lot. And I know Pete said this at the podium. This is a tough game. It's a humbling game. As the old cliche goes, you succeed 3 out of 10 times, you're a Hall of Famer, which leaves you to fail 7 out of 10 times. I'm confident, and I'm not going to stop. I'm confident that Pete finally coming through with that massive hit, that could very well open the floodgates for Pete Alonso here moving forward. That could be the hit that he needed just to see that ball go over the fence. I know he had the big hit, or not a big hit, but he had a single late on Wednesday in game 2 where I was like, all right, he saw a ball fall. He got on base. He got a hit. That's what he needed. This guy is a monster. He is a great, great hitter. He is one of the best hitters in Mets history. Let's not forget that. And, I know a lot of people, we're prone to reacting and overreacting, and I get that. It's part of being a fan, but it's important to remember that this guy has been our guy. 2nd round pick, 2016, University of Florida, played at Brooklyn, a Brooklyn Cyclone. How many guys can we say played at Brooklyn and hit over 200 home runs as a member of the Mets? The answer is 0. Actually, it's 1. Pete Alonso. Other than him, 0. And then tonight, what he does, I just hope that everyone realizes and takes the lesson from tonight of, hey, it's always important to take a step back. If it's the 5th inning or the 6th inning and a guy doesn't come through, there's another plate appearance coming up, and there's another opportunity. And baseball is a microcosm of life in that way, because we all don't succeed in everything we do every single day, but we get more opportunities. And for Pete Alonso to come through that in that situation, he's the man. He's our guy. He's our guy. And no matter what happens moving forward, I'll never forget this night. I'll never forget the heroics of Pete Alonso. None of us will anytime soon, because I truly, truly believe, and I know it's the theme of this episode, but this was the biggest home run in Mets franchise history. And for it to be hit by a guy who means so much to all of us as fans and has gone through so much recently, the second that ball left his bat, he knew it was gone. I didn't know it was gone. I couldn't tell. I mean, I know the fence kind of juts out there in Milwaukee. And Freelock's a great outfielder. Pete knew it was gone.
Pete knew.
And he was right.
Pete knew off the bat. There were balls all night. I mean, I thought Lindor got a hold of one early.
Yes. Yes.
There was one I thought Lindor just had, and it just, but what a game. And then Jesse Winker, we got to give him credit for getting that insurance run on board. They didn't
helmet into 3.
I was just about to say, dude, we got another Jesse Winker helmet throw, and watching the helmet shatter as it hit the floor, and just somebody who just wanted so badly to make a moment in Milwaukee after everything. I mean, look, this season started with a feud with Milwaukee, and it's continuing after a feud with Milwaukee. Two different guys on the same two different guys this time. But look, we have to try to get to sleep now. I want to thank Hunter for joining us and just giving us that amazing perspective. It's pretty rare that I think pretty rare for a team podcast to be able to get somebody to come in and be like, hey, this is what the locker room was like tonight. And like John said, you guys have done a great job, dude. The Coco Melon tweet, I know you've been waiting to get that one off for a little bit.
MVP. It was amazing, Hunter. I love
the
that.
360 cam was one of my favorite things you guys did a few days ago. And
I'm working on it from tonight right now.
Who
This man is incredible, Trisha.
Who held it? Who held it this time? Did somebody hold the
Will ran out to the field with it, and then again, like Monday night, he stuck it in the cooler. So it's just the problem is it's taking forever to download. But I gotta think it's pretty awesome.
Amazing. Well, guys, you can follow me on Twitter at Vito F. Khaleesi. You can follow John on Twitter at JMB9191. The road continues from here. Will the Mets be another NL East wildcard team to make a run to the end of October? Are the Mets the 2019 Nationals? Are the Mets the 2021 Braves? Are the Mets better than the 2022 Phillies? We're going to find out this week. Game starts Saturday. We'll see y'all at Citi Field. Let's go, Mets. I'm fired up. Nobody's going to sleep.